The chief and I have talked a great deal. I've talked to many on the department. I've talked to a great number of people, both protesters, police officers alike. There's one thing that I want to start by noting, which is how hard our Kansas City, Missouri police officers have worked over recent days. As you know, this has not been a cool time in Kansas City. It's been 90 degrees outside most days. Folks are standing there, taking a lot in each day, and they have performed what they're doing admirably. And so I think we do need to remember, in the same way that we are recognizing the rights of protesters, in the same ways that we're actually talking about how important it is to respect their voices, and I agree with that, we also want to make sure that we're respecting our law enforcement. We want to make sure that we know and acknowledge the important work they're doing. And I'll make this other point. To the extent, and I hear this all the time, that there are people that have issues with how things are done, what use of force protocol is, what are some of the choices that we all make. That is a decision that you can take up with the Board of Police Commissioners, on which I sit. That's a decision of the Chief of Police. Somebody who's standing outside right now is following orders. They're doing their job, and they're largely doing their job well. And so when we talk about the processes that we use, the changes that need to be made, that's why I think it's important for the commissioners to be engaged. That's why it's important for the Chief of Police. In connection with that, I'll announce just a few things. One, I'll be calling for a special meeting of the Board of Police Commissioners later this week. The goal of that meeting is to have an opportunity to talk about not just protests and policy, particularly use of force policy in Kansas City. It's also giving us a chance to look at our relationships with the community, our relationships with, in particular, the black community, and ways that we can improve. I know there are many people that ask questions about the type of control this city has. That's fine, and we can have those questions, we can have those conversations. But we also have a structure now. And we need to make sure that we work within that structure to be the best and most accountable department that we possibly can be. As part of that, I want to commend the Kansas City Chief of Police, who's done a fantastic job in speaking to me and reaching out to me and being available. He does the same for the Board of Police Commissioners, and we expect to have further review in connection with that later this week. Another thing that I wanted to make sure that we discussed was the issue of body cams. Today, my office was in touch with the offices of both Senator Josh Hawley and Senator Roy Blunt in connection with our efforts to get further federal funds and grants to help support at least procuring some number of body cams, even in a pilot program for the city of Kansas City, Missouri. Why are we asking for federal funds versus funding it itself? I'll be very honest. Our budget is strained right now. I'm not lying, we're kind of broke. But that doesn't mean that these are not very important. We understand that there is a path through the federal process at which we could try to fund body cams. Both the department supports body cams, the city council, my office certainly does, and we do agree with so many who have protested, so many who have spoken, and agree with the fact that it's time to get this done. One other issue to talk about, and that we've heard much about from protesters, includes the question of accountability. Accountability both day in and day out in Kansas City, but also as it relates to this protest. It's my understanding that there have been any number of videos that have appeared on social media, in the press. Some have been sent directly to my office, some have been sent directly to the Kansas City Police Department. In connection with review of any incidents, we are continuing in what we already have, which is a memorandum of understanding with a number of different agencies to ensure that any incidents of either alleged or perceived misconduct are reviewed by independent sources. That includes both a relationship with the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the United States Attorney's Office for the Western District of Missouri. Today I had the opportunity to talk to the special agent in charge of the FBI's Kansas City office, who said he is willing to work with us for any independent review of any incidents that either the department or the public finds to be concerning. And I want to make this clear. This is not us saying that there was an individual officer in a certain situation that acted improperly. What we're saying is that we're establishing a process for any incidents in which the public has significant concerns, for those to be reviewed, by an independent source, and for us to be able to make sure that we are doing the review that is necessary so people know that we're following good policies and good rules. That also includes a review of our own policies as relates to things like use of force, etc.